guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my everyday gal makeup that I do. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, please show some support and like, comment, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. So the first thing I start off is obviously with my face washed. And I like to obviously moisturize my face before any makeup. I think the base of your makeup or like your skin will really like dictate how your makeup turns out. So for my moisturizer, I really just use Vaseline, and then I use any type of moisturizer I have at the time. I'm not really specific with my product, as long as I know that the moisturizer is like for sensitive skin, because I do have sensitive skin, especially around my eyes. I'm going to be using the Hydra Vegetal Moisturizing Cream. This is from Yves Rocher. So I'm just adding to all my face, and then just make sure you rub it in. You want to make sure your whole face is nice and moisturized. So next I use sunscreen. For me, putting on sunscreen is really important, so I use the Neutrogena 70+ Sport Face, and I just put this all over my face like so. I also like putting some on my neck. Next, we are going to be applying primer, and as you can tell, this one is very low in quantity. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I feel like this primer really works well for me for my gal makeup, because since I use a lot of product on my face, this really makes it last through the day. It like feels like glue kind of. So when I do my makeup, I put quite a lot. So what I do is I just put it on my finger, squirt a bit on your finger, and then kind of like pat it, but rub it into your face where you're gonna put all your makeup. I don't put too much on my forehead because I don't really wear too much makeup on my forehead, and I usually have my bangs out, so it's not the most important part of my makeup to be focused on, but I focus it most on my cheeks, my nose, and around my eyes. Okay, and then I'm gonna let it get a little dry. Alrighty, so for my next step, I'm gonna be using a BB cream. I use BB cream because it's just more soothing on my skin. It's not too heavy. With all the makeup combined for gal, it's already a lot on my skin, and like I said, I have sensitive skin, so I think using a BB cream, at least for me, it just helps my skin breathe throughout the day, and it's not too heavy. So I'm using the Maybelline Dream BB Fresh. This is in my skin tone, medium sheer tint, and it also has SPF 30 in it. And now I'm just gonna go through and blend in, pat it into my face to make sure it's all smooth out and even. Alright, so everything is spread out evenly. So what I go in next is with concealer. So for this one, I use the Revolution Makeup Revolution from London. But yeah, this is the concealer. I don't know what shade it is, to be honest. Oh, here it is, F3. But basically, use any concealer you have, whatever works for you. I just add to the areas that I think I want my face to be bright in, or the places that I think my skin looks a little uneven. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to add to my forehead. I like adding a little dot to my forehead like that, and then I let it dry for just a little bit before I go in with my beauty blender again and just smoothing it out into my face. I'm aware I look insane right now, but you guys just have to trust the process. Just keep blending it out. You just gotta really beat your face. Alright, I blended it out. So for the next step, I'm using the Airspun Loose Face Powder. You just want to make sure you powder your face. At least for me, this is how I feel like my makeup like settles in best and stays on. So I just like going in with a brush and kind of just tapping in where you put all the liquid product, and voila, we are done with that. Next step we're gonna do is we are going to contour my jawline. I low-key do my steps all out of order, so if this doesn't make any sense to you, I totally get that. Anyways, next step is, I'm not really sure what this brand is. All I can see is the faded logo. It says like Faux Era number 204 in Truth. This is literally just some brown eyeshadow I picked up. As you can tell, she's been a little used up a little too much because I use her every day. But for this step, basically I just contour my jawline. Honestly, use as much as you want. I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe in makeup blindness. Sorry, this is so off topic. I don't believe in makeup blindness. If that's how you intended your makeup to look and that's what you like, what are you blind about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Blush blindness, that doesn't exist to me. I use so much blush, so that's why I don't really buy into that whole thing. I just feel like it kind of shames people for how they do their makeup, and I don't really think that there is a right way to do your makeup necessarily. So yeah, I've just been rubbing it into my jawline. I also do some on my temples because since I used quite a lot of concealer and powder, you kind of want to just make your face more revitalized. And I also do some on my cheeks. I mean, not my cheeks, my cheekbones. So boom, all done. All right, next step is blush. Like I just said, I love using a lot of blush. To me, there's no limit on how much blush you can use. I think blush just gives you that cute little like je ne sais quoi. But I'm using the NYX Professional Makeup Butter Melt Blush. I like the kind of purple hueish pink type blush. Again, whatever works best for you, you use. If a peachy blush works better for you, then use that. If a reddish blush works more for you, use that. But I just go in and I add it to my chin. I add it to my cheeks. I like using and putting it in the middle to kind of give it that like dolly look. But I also like when it's on your cheekbone, so I kind of drag it a little, but concentrate it on the middle part of your cheek to give it that kind of doll look, if that makes sense. And then I like adding a little bit of blush to my nose. Now I'm gonna do my nose contour. So I go back in with the same eyeshadow, brown eyeshadow I used to contour my face, and now I'm gonna use it to contour my nose. I just go for like the straight, like typical gal contour, you know, straight, and then a little bit of white down the middle, but not too much because since I do the hime look, I wanted to read hime so I don't overdo it. Again, not like you can overdo it, but if you were doing a more heavier look like mamba or banba, you would contour more heavily. So a big part of my makeup that I like is baking. I'm gonna use the same loose powder that I used to set my face, and I'm gonna use this kind of precision brush, I'd say. It really helps me like go in and bake precisely how I want it to. I really like baking because I feel like this really adds to the parts that you wanna make brighter. So like I said, I like brightening wherever I put my concealer, that's where I like brightening. So that's kind of where I'll go over. So like my nose is one of the parts that I like to brighten, so I'll just follow the contour and like that. And then right under my eye where I put the concealer, I like doing it. So I put quite a lot, and then I like to put it on the sides of my nose and then a little under my nose, and then I'm adding to my other side, same that I did on the right. And then I like adding some under here. I know this looks excessive, but I don't know, I think it really brightens my look up. And then I add to this, like right above your jawline. Oh, and then I forgot my chin right here. Honestly, just add it to the areas where you find you get most oily. I think my skin varies, but then again, I also want to put it on areas that I want to brighten. So like I said, just adjust it to whatever's best for your face. Alright, so for my next step, I'm going to do my eyebrows. So honestly, I'm not very particular with what I do for my eyebrows. Like I said before, most of my makeup gets covered up, or my forehead gets covered up with bangs, since that's like one of my main like hairdos, I always use bangs. I don't think I've really done any looks without bangs. So it's really up to you how you do your eyebrows. Since I do hime, I usually just do the straight eyebrow. Really what I focus on is the color. So I usually do my eyebrows red since my hair is red. But when I do like a wig look, I'll do like brown eyebrows. So that's, like I said, not really particular. I mostly focus on the color of anything. I basically just outline the outer part, and then I go in with a small precision brush and I just kind of smooth it out. So I'm gonna fill it in with red, and I just use like a dark red for my eyebrows. I use this palette I got literally like in 2020, so it's very old but it still works. So I just use the dark red and kind of just color the front end so it looks red, but it also has the brown that defines the shape. So I'm gonna do that to the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so I know this doesn't look perfect right now, but the way I really shape my eyebrows is just going with the same concealer I used with my face, or if you don't want it to look too bright, use a foundation that's your skin color. It'll work the same, but I basically just use another precision brush and I just outline the shape of my brows. So like I said, I like the straight brow look, so I just underline my eyebrow like that, blend it in, blend, and then we're gonna do the same but on the top. Sometimes I just kind of wing it because yeah, I'm not too worried about my brows. So like that, you can see they look kind of more shaped, and just do this until your desired eyebrow look. All right, finished with my eyebrows. Now what I like to do is I just go in with the same brush that I used to put the baking powder on my face, and I just like outlining where I just went in with my concealer. I think this just helps set the concealer in place. So yeah, for our next step, we're gonna start doing the eyeshadow. So honestly, I don't really wear eyeshadow like every single day, but sometimes I will go in with light pink and kind of like go over my eyelids, kind of give it a more sparkly, glowy look. I'm not too particular because although my eye makeup is the center point of my look, like I said, I feel like it's kind of a trust the process. You want to really just start with the light pink or whatever light color you have, kind of just to set or prime the eyelid before you go in with another color like that. And then I like honestly to use the same color I use for my blush. I literally just like going on the outer edge and kind of dragging it in. I like adding quite a lot, and like I said, focus it on the outer side of your eyelid, because later we're gonna go in and kind of like highlight this part of your eye. Alrighty, so moving on, we're gonna come back to the eyeshadow, because first I like doing my eyeliner, and then I like to overlay the eyeshadow with some glitter or some highlighter or whatever. So I'm gonna go in and start shaping and drawing my eyeliner. So for this, I'm first gonna go in with a black eyeliner pencil. I don't do the liquid liner just yet because my hands kind of get shaky when I do the eyeliner, so I like drawing it out. So I'm just gonna sharpen this pencil and I'll be right back to show you guys what like shape I usually do. Alright, I'm gonna get real close to try to show you guys as much as I can, but basically I wouldn't worry too much about how much you place on the upper lid. It really depends how big you want your eyes to be. If you want your gel makeup to look more almond shape or like extended, widely extended, don't do it as thick. But if you want your eyes to look more horizontally bigger, then you can go up more to give it that more round shape. But I'm not gonna do too much of either today. I'm just gonna show you what I usually do. So you want to just outline your eyelid and then you want to go, or I go a little down like that. That's it. So once we've done that, I go in on the bottom and I kind of pull my eyelid back to expose my waterline, and I start to outline into the inner corner like that. Kind of drag it down, make it define like that. I do it a little past my lens, and I really concentrate on highlighting this part or making it dark. And then after that, you basically want to connect these two lines. Do you see how this is starting to look like a droop? So boom. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna go over it with actual eyeliner, but basically this is the shape that I like to do. It kind of like, it makes your eye big and it gives you that droop, which I really like. If you want, you can go ahead and tight line your eye, and then we're gonna go and do the same for the other eye. I will be right back. Doing the other side. I think connecting the line can be one of the hardest part, because kind of measuring how even it looks against the other eye, because you want the droop to have the same amount of space. But even if you doesn't look perfect, I think it's very easy to just wipe it off and do it again. You can see the shape. Now we're gonna go in with actual eyeliner and basically just trace over what we just drew on. I'm going in with, honestly, I just picked this up from the Dollar Tree, so any eyeliner, preferably waterproof though, so that it lasts most of the day. I like the precision brush because it really helps me like control. Like I said, I have shaky hands, so it can be a little hard, but make sure you just trace and correct any mistakes. If you want to make your eyeliner bigger, do that. I'm gonna do this off camera because I'm already messing it up. I just spilled some on my bed. Alright, as you can see, I'm tracing the line. I made this part a little pointier, and then this part, this line that comes and makes the droop, make sure that's kind of thick. I've made the mistake before of making it too thin, and that just doesn't necessarily look good. You want it to really look like it's part of your eye, because if you do it too thin, it'll kind of just look like it's just floating there. So I'm just gonna go in and finish up and do the other eye. Alright, now that we're done with the eyeliner part, I'm gonna go in and do my mascara. I really just use whichever mascara I have. This is just the Essence Lash Princess. You just want to coat your eyelashes, just your top ones. I usually do for my bottom lashes, I do fake eyelashes, so just coat the top of your lashes. It doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't have to be too much, because we're gonna put eyelashes over. I do like to coat them. I feel like my false eyelashes stay on better when I have a coat of mascara on. And I'm just finishing up the other side. And now while I'm waiting for the mascara to dry, I usually like to just start patting off or dusting off my baking powder. So as you can see, a lot of it has started to settle into my skin, which is what I like. But for the excess, you just kind of want to like dust it but pat it in. So like pat it into your skin. I want to dust off my nose. You can see how much brighter it looks. And then under my eye. Alright, now that that's done, I like to go in and finish my nose. And by that I mean, where is it? Oh, add on the highlighter and the nose strip. Alright, so for the nose stripe or strip or whatever you want to call it, I use the NYX Jumbo in the shade Cottage Cheese, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is either milk or cottage cheese, but it's one of the white ones. It doesn't really matter because we're gonna add highlight on top of it. But basically what I like to do is give or add a little button type like that. And then I like to highlight my forehead. Not that you can even see it, to be honest, but that's just how I like doing it. And then you just want to trace your contour. And now I'm going to go in with my highlight. I use Revolution Beauty London highlighter. I don't really know what shade this is. I think it's been faded, but whatever like white type highlighter, honestly whatever color you want, but I used this color and I just go in and use it to highlight over my nose. And then I go in with this brush. You just want to go over where you put white with the pencil, so kind of just blending it out into your skin. And if you add too much, that's totally okay. You're just gonna go in with the same contour brush and just kind of like go over it, kind of blending it out, whatever you want to do, and boom. Oh, I forgot to mention, but another place that I like putting my highlighter is under my eyebrows. For my next step, I'm gonna grab a white eyeliner pencil. Really, you can get this anywhere. It kind of just like acts, or honestly, you don't even have to use a pencil. You can just use the same NYX jumbo pencil thingy I used. So I'm just using it to highlight the inner corner, and I like to also drag it up to my eyelid. I think it really opens my eye up and give it that more like, I don't know, it kind of stands out more. So after that, I like to again focus on the inner corner, and then I like to use this to kind of draw the Aegyo-sal. And you can go as crazy as you want with the Aegyo-sal, but since I'm doing hime, I've tried to really kind of tone it down. So I kind of draw it under my eye and kind of giving it that, like, that line, if you can see. And I'm gonna go in and do it. I'm gonna go in and do it to the other eye. And drag up. Boom. Like that cat. Boom. You guys know that cat that's like boom, boom? No? Okay. I want to make a note before I finish doing my eyes that I do know that more hime gal looks are like, their eye makeup is very much subtle. If you wanted to do more of a toned down look, I would suggest doing the droop not as prominent and kind of like bringing it up and ending it right under your eyelash line. And then for the white part, I would suggest like not extending it too long and just keeping it to the inner corners of your eye. But like I said, this is how I like to do my makeup. Now I am going to kind of create the Aegyo-sal, and I know we already did the white part, but I'm gonna go in with this tiny brush, and this is going to help underline and really make the Aegyo-sal pop. So I go in with the same eyeshadow palette that I used to set my eyelids, and I go in with the one that looks kind of brown reddish, and basically you just want to underline where you put the white part, and it's up to you how dark you want to go. I kind of like going really dark. I really like the when an Aegyo-sal really looks defined. I think it looks super cute. If you want a more subtle look, just do a lighter color and don't do as much. Oh, and I think I did forget to mention, this palette is the Sweet Mint palette. Let me see. I'm not sure which, like what batch it is or like what, but I'm gonna put it down in the description. I'm not too particular about my eyeshadows. As long as there's like the color that I want in it or a similar color, that's really what I look for, and that's what I get. But yeah, I'm just finishing up my Aegyo-sal. Alright, and then to finish our eye makeup, I go in with the Erinde Color 01. I will link this down below because this I think this really just makes my makeup pop, especially the inner corner. It's basically liquid glitter, and I just place it right at the inner corner, and then I like to drag it into my Aegyo-sal like that. And then you can also drag it a little up if you'd like. I don't do it too much because I'm gonna go, oh, I did forget to add the glitter to my top lid. But yeah, just add it and do it to the other eye. I'm just gonna let it dry because when it's still liquid, it's easy for it to get everywhere, so just be careful. But I'm gonna still do my top lid. I basically just go in with whatever like pinkish glitter in your palette, and basically just want to go over the inner part of your eye. I also like using from this palette, the one that I got in like 2020. I like using these two and just putting it over like that. Alright guys, we're almost done the makeup tutorial, but one of the most important things that I like to do before I do my eyelashes or even my lips, my lip combo, is I like to go with setting spray and spray everything that you just did. You want to spray it down. I think this not only makes it stay longer, but I think it helps blend everything into your face. So I'm using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. This is the 24-hour wear, the original one, and I'm just gonna spray on my face everywhere that I put makeup on. And then I'm just gonna let it dry. Okay, now that my face has dried, I'm gonna go in with the Q-tip and I'm just gonna wipe off everything on my lips. All the product, all the powder that got on our lips while we were doing makeup. And I like just doing this because I'm gonna do my lip combo and I like when it's nice and clean. Like that. Alright, for my lip combo, first I'm just gonna moisturize my lips after I whipped everything off. And then these are all the products that I'm gonna use. So first I'm gonna go in with this lip gloss. This is the LA Colors High Shine Shea Butter Lip Gloss in the shade Baby Cakes. I really like this lip gloss because it gives like the nude base that I like. And I think it's really reminiscent of the lip color that a lot of hime gals used for their makeup looks. So I like just putting a decent amount of a layer. And then for my next product, I'm using the Morphe Drip Glass Glazed. This is in the shade Glint of Pink. I love this. This is so pretty. Its packaging is so pretty and it's super, super shiny. This kind of adds a more brighter pink. So I add that to the middle of my lip. And a little goes a long way with this. So I just put a little bit and blend it into my lip. And you can see how it's already taking effect and making it look more brighter. So now you can skip this step, but I like it because I think putting another lip gloss on top helps blend the two layers that we just put. But if you don't want to, then just go ahead and add this lip gloss instead of the step. But I like to go in with my Rimmel Stay Glossy lip gloss in the shade Flower Power, and I like to just go in and blend everything out. I think this lip gloss I've been using for so long, it just makes my lips really moisturized and it helps blend out the rest of the lip gloss that we added. And then last but not least, I'm gonna go in with the Kiko Milano lip gloss. This is in the shade 05, and this I really love because it has so much glitter. I think it adds the perfect final touch to your lip combo, and you don't want to put too much because a little goes a long way. You just want to dab it on there and go like that. And I don't know if you can tell, but I just really like how the finished look comes about, and I just think it gives you like a cute, soft but glossy and shiny lip combo. All right, moving on to our final steps, we're gonna add our bottom lashes. For my gal look, I really love using bottom lashes. I think it just makes your eyes pop even more. I think I got these from Taobao or AliExpress. Either way, I will link wherever I got it from down below in the description. But you want to get any type of bottom lashes could work, but I like the ones where it goes from like large and fades to smaller lashes. I'm not very specific where I got my lashes, as long as it follows this general like pattern, that's what I like. And you basically just want to measure it to your eye, and it really is up to you how much you want to leave out, because I like trimming it a little bit because it can be too long, but I really like placing it on the droop. So I'm gonna measure and cut it. All right, after cutting it to the shape that you want it to fit your eye, I'm just gonna go in and put some eyelash glue on the strip of the band, and to make it stick specifically to your eye for the whole day, I like basically tracing where the bottom lashes are gonna be. So that's usually on the Aegyo-sal, so that's where I like to trace. And you're just gonna let it get tacky for a little bit. Okay, now that it's a little sticky, you are going to just, as best as you can, shape it and fit it to the shape of your eye, and then hold it down in place, and it should stay there for the whole day. I just like patting it down, make sure it stays, and I'm gonna do the same for the other eye. I will see you in a bit. So now that we've glued on our eyelashes, we're gonna do the top, and after that we're all done with our makeup. So the secret for my top eyelashes, I basically just stack my eyelashes, and I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm gonna try to insert a picture of when I post it on my story. But yeah, basically I just stack 3 eyelashes, and then I add an extra one to the inner corner to make my eye longer, because since we elongated our eye with the droop, you're just gonna glue it onto the end where it meets the bottom lash. Just make sure you coat it well. It's kind of hard to sometimes make sure my eyelashes stay on, just because since you're putting it on the outer edges onto your skin, sometimes that can be irritating or hard. I know y'all makeup can be very extravagant and a lot of products, but just make sure put your health first and don't irritate your eye if it's genuinely too uncomfortable. But what I like to do to make it stay on is I basically just trace the line, and then that's where you're gonna stick your eyelash on top. And another thing I do before putting my top lashes on is I just like to briefly just curl my eyelashes on up a little to make sure that they hold these big ass lashes. Okay, now that it's a little dry, I'm gonna proceed to put it on top. And you just kind of have to be patient, because since these eyelashes are humongous, it takes a little bit to dry, so just try to hold it in place and just be patient and take your time. It can take a lot of practice, but once you get there, it's pretty easy. And you can see how it's coming along, and if anything, this will really help make it stay in place. You just want to push your eyelashes together, make it stay in place, and voila. Let me go and do the other side. Alright guys, so my eyelashes are done. And then for the last thing that I like to do for my makeup is, since we did our setting spray, I'm gonna go over and just pat down my skin again, just to make sure it doesn't look oily or it looks like even. And then the last thing I do like to do is I like to go in with a little bit more blush. I like to use this shade, just a little pink bright shade, and I just like to pat on the cheeks, because since we did the setting spray, that kind of dissolves the blush, but no worries, we can add as much as we want, and we are done. This is the final look, but I'm gonna go and put on a wig so you guys can see the finished gal look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video on my makeup tutorial. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe.